with another video review for you. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Brine Clutch as well as Powlax Striker mesh, so it'll be kind of like a double review because it is strung with Powlax Striker mesh. I'll go ahead and start with the mesh because that'll probably take a little less time. But so this is Powlax Striker mesh, and the story as it goes is, if you know, the infamous East Coast Dye Striker mesh was actually made by Stringer Shack. What a surprise! Everybody knew that already. So I guess East Coast Dyes is not using it anymore. So Powlax, Patrick over there, decided to buy out the rest of the stock from Stringer Shack, so he can now offer striker mesh. So he's got some crazy colorways, some awesome stuff, and he has like some stuff where it's filled in the middle between the two beams, and it's just insane. He's like the mesh master in my opinion. But he really has revamped his whole mesh formula and the feeling of his mesh, because I bought a piece of mesh probably, I'm going to say about 2 years ago to a year ago, and it felt totally different. Everything on it was different. It was thicker, with different base, clearly a lot waxier, had a little bit of flaking issues, and I will say he has totally turned it around. This mesh is, in my opinion, far better than East Coast mesh. It has the same consistency as East Coast mesh, absolutely no flaking whatsoever. You don't worry about flaking at all. It's tacky, but it's not too tacky. I would give it around East Coast mesh, maybe a tiny bit less tack. Insane amount of hold, though, I will say. It has, without having the stickiness, it can still consistently hold the ball well. And break-in time is much faster than East Coast mesh. Even though you say it's fastest break-in, you're not going to beat this Powlax mesh. I mean, it strings up absolutely perfectly. And it forms your pocket, it stretches, it holds its shape absolutely perfectly. Overall in this mesh, easy 10 out of 10. Best mesh I've ever used. That's a wax mesh, of course. String King I'm still a big fan of. But these two in my mind are about the same, I would say. But I have it strung up in a Brine Clutch Elite X. This is a Carolina blue one. If you hear me talking in the background, it's at my grandparents' house for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. But so Carolina Blue Brine Clutch X, Henry strung this up actually. It's a legal. As you can see, not many of my pockets I decided to keep legal because I don't really get checked that much. But it's a solid mid pocket in here. Solid mid pocket. As I said, this mesh is very, very easy to string, and it works very well to string and hold its shape, and it forms quite a nice pocket. It does have a good amount of channel on it. A nice channel actually, I will say. But this head has insane amount of stringing holes. As you can see along the side here, there's no limit to your stringing possibilities in this head. I mean, you can do low, high, mid, just about anything. And I've seen a lot of people use traditional. I used to have a traditional actually in this head, and traditional works very well with the head also. It's a very durable head, I will say. It's wide enough to be a defensive head or an offensive head, but I feel that it works better for the offensive-minded player. Because of its weight as well as its face shape. In the pinch down here, how it's more gradual than a defensive head, how it just doesn't spike out. But I like their whole core tech technology, which is kind of like a sim rail, I guess you could say. How on the inside it's actually hollowed out, as you can see here. So all the beams are hollowed out to a point that they have a thickness that it won't crack on you, but it does reduce a ton of weight. So as you can imagine, head's going to be very, very light, and I have it on a Kryptolite shaft here actually, 2014. So this stick is very insanely light. I play attack, so it's nice to have that. It's strung up with a U and a straight and a nylon, which worked very well. I would suggest to set up to about anybody because you could use it for any position. It's a great shooting stick. I mean, you can just pick corners with it, as well as passing is very nice, and the holds insane in this thing. I don't know if it'll be a good illustration of the hold, but I can do toe drags like crazy. Yeah, as you can see, the holds very well in this, and it's still legal. Yeah, definitely my gamer now. I might have to actually get another one of these. I'm thinking about getting a white Clutch 3 or Clutch Elite X and stringing it up with some fade royal blue Powlax mesh, striker mesh. But the head, I really like the throat on the head, how it has the notches here on the side, which actually accommodates leathers very well if you're doing traditionally, because it goes through on the sides. I tape on my screws in just in case they fall out. but a very wide hole for the screw, which is very nice. Most heads are actually very thin holes, so that helps a lot. But it has, as you can see, it has two rails. So you have this rail here, as well as the inner rail. So it's a very, very durable throat. I will say I do not suggest this head for face-offs or the Clutch Elite HS because it just doesn't hold up very well. It seems to warp. But as far as warping goes in this head, unless you're taking face-offs, you don't have any warping problem at all. But very definitely my favorite Clutch in the Clutch series. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Many stringing holes, as you can see. Great head, absolutely great mesh. I suggest this mesh to anybody. I'll have the link in the bio or in the information down below, so you can go check it out. Very good prices too. I think it's $15 for a piece, which is better than East Coast Mesh by far. But yeah, that was the Clutch Elite review, Clutch Elite X review, as well as Powlax Mesh. All right, guys, see you later.